The first thing you notice about this building is the details, the tiles, the brass, the little features. On the outside of the building, you'll see these plant pots on the roof line, which have these brass flowers in them. You're like, why are they there? That sense of over-ornamentation, which is kind of a joyful kind of frippery and exuberance, a kind of sense of eccentricity. Stanley Arts is 2/3 of the historic Stanley Halls complex, which is part of a bigger building complex that was put together by William Stanley with his wife Eliza. The foundation stone out the front says 1902, and the whole complex was finished in 1909 when, unfortunately, Stanley didn't live much beyond that. Stanley's an interesting character. He's a self-made man. He's an inventor, he's an entrepreneur. He's got about 70 patents in the patent office. He started the first technical college based on the German model in terms of technical college. He provided a lot of work for local people. The day this amazing space opens, Stanley Hall, he puts on a concert and invites all the workmen who were involved in building this space to come and enjoy that performance and that cultural evening. So there's that sense of creating a space that is there for all members of the community, whether that's people who don't have a lot of money or the people who live in the big houses up the hill. It's slightly Edwardian patrician, but within that frame, he's quite progressive for his time. Not only why he would make a building, but also the way in which he makes the building. It's definitely built by someone who's an inventor, not an architect. Nothing's on the same level. There's stairs everywhere. You get lost, there's little mazes, but it kind of functions as a little machine. All over the building, you'll find the inventors' kind of ways of doing things where he's thought from scratch, rather than worked across a kind of a long historic tradition that an architect would.
Stanley was a polymath, there's no doubt about that. He was progressive. Certainly Stanley took a lot of time and trouble over the design of this hall. It was tailor-made. It had all the modern mods and cons. It was a pretty impressive building in its day. It was worthy of the larger concerts. I mean, Samuel Coleridge Taylor conducted here, and it was big enough to put on major performances, major plays. Pevsner describes it as an eccentric group of buildings, and eccentric it is, certainly. It's a lovely building. It is loved by the people in the community.
The architecture of this building is so different to the other buildings you see in this community because it really reflects William Stanley and his interests. It was the first building in Croydon to have electric lighting, and it was also a building that you could change the temperature in. There's a tunnel system which goes all the way around the building. They boasted that within 5 minutes you could change the temperature using the high technology in this building. These service tunnels were used to adjust that. It's a really cool little space. It's very low down, dark, and we've got strip lights that go around the outside, and it feels so atmospheric and secretive, and I love that space. A building like this is a real hub in the community. Physically, you see it as a big landmark, but also there's an expectation that we're somewhere for people to gather.
My name is Simeon Campbell. I'm a member of Bird Gang Dance Company. Behind me we have our Eggs, our youth project. The Nest is our training company for our adults or our young adults. And from the Nest is when we eventually get into the Flock, which is our final Bird Gang company. We are currently rehearsing for a dance show that we have in a couple of weeks. So we have a lot of new school kind of movement and things going on here, but mixing that with kind of the vibe of the building and trying to find a way for that to work is always really interesting to us. Bird Gang, we're looking for something in the south where we could actually take up space. Stanley have a really wide range of arts that pass through the doors. I've seen other shows that take place here, seen other events that take place here, people that we work with here, the staff that work here help us to feel really connected to the building. They've really brought us in, and we've been able to give back in terms of working with them and doing the community work through them also. We know and we talk about all the times there are things that are difficult out there for kids and they're not given things to do, so it gives them a safe place to be. It's become a home for us.
We are looking in this building to not only better reflect our local community, but also lift up and amplify the voices of people who perhaps haven't had the space and the stage up until this point. So we do a lot of stuff in queer arts. We do a lot of stuff with the Vogue Ballroom community, which is queer and black, which is amazing. We have resident organisations like Zuko, who work a lot with deaf and disabled and neurodivergent actors and audiences. That kind of platforming of underrepresented voices is kind of key to what our future in this building is, and in some senses represents what Stanley was doing all that time back, 110 years ago. We're right at the beginning of what will be a 5, maybe 10-year capital program where we bring this building up to a standard that means it will still be here in another 100 years. Catching a few parts of the building where we had quite bad water ingress and solving that problem, solving those roofing issues, and then investing in making the building more accessible, more open, more dynamic, taking the gallery space which runs along here, where it can be used not only as a gallery, it's used as an event space in the evenings, it can be used as a co-working space during the day, reviving and refreshing the frontage of this building. It's not an enormous spend, but it's actually transformational in terms of the look and the face that the building presents to the community. We couldn't have got this far without the extraordinary support of Historic England. I hope that William Stanley would be pleased that his building's still here and still getting used by the community. A part of me thinks that Stanley would be particularly pleased with all the technology we're putting into the building in terms of the live streaming equipment and all those kind of like latest mod cons, because as an inventor I'm sure he would be fascinated by the internet and streaming and this idea that you could create a piece of art and it could be shared simultaneously around the globe. I think that would be something that would really tickle him. So I hope, you never know, but I hope he looks down kindly upon us.